From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, a show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself, and answering Star Wars questions. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw, and we're happy to be here. I'm sorry, I'm just speaking for you. I don't know if you're happy to be here, Ken.
I'm very happy to be here. Very happy
good.
to be here.
Confirmed. Always check your sources, your primary sources.
Yes.
We're both happy to be here for Q's of the Force. You have Q's, and hopefully we will find some A's somewhere, right, Ken?
Absolutely. It's good to get back to our Star Wars questions series, a chance for our ForceCenter friends to ask us some deeper, dare I say, longer essays of questions, sharing their experiences, the context for the question, all that stuff, and we love doing it. So good to be back here doing that. And as always, before we get to that, we like to remind you that our show is brought to you by our own merch shop. I think that's wonderfully egocentric. I think it's a good thing to support yourself. We have our merch shop on Fourth Wall. We still have the one on TeePublic. You can get a shirt there if you'd like, but go to Fourth Wall, check out our merch store there. T-shirts, we got pint glasses, coasters. I forget. There's a ton of stuff on there. They offer a lot more. So check it out. And if there's something that you're like, I'd really like a ForceCenter logo on it, you don't have it, let us know, and we'll slap it on. You can go to ForceCenter-shop.fourthwall.com, ForceCenter-shop.fourthwall.com for more. I feel like Wayne Campbell with the sponsorship.
It's a
black and white stuff from
total infomercial. It's like a modern version of like a mattress salesman. We'll slap a logo on it.
Yeah. Or your mattress is free. Shout out to SoCal people with that one. But good news on the other side, we hit a goal, and that doesn't mean we're stopping over on Patreon.
No, we hit our Patreon goal. We had been building to a goal of 400 paid patrons by the time of the release of Mandalorian and Grogu, and we are currently, as we record, at 401. So we are extremely grateful, and we're going to up the goal. We're going to go even higher. We're going to go to 407 paid patrons by the time of the release of Mandalorian and Grogu. Why? Because now that we've reached our goal, a couple of people will inevitably drop off because it's totally normal and understandable. People cycle through. So we'll try to get a little higher so we can maintain that 400. And as a member of our Patreon, you get access to our Discord. You get to ask questions like the one that we're going to talk about here today. And we'll slap a logo on your mattress. No, we won't. That's just a joke.
We show up at your house with a decal.
Doesn't even have to be about ForceCenter. You like trucks? We'll put a truck on it. Anyway.
Yes, I love that. Yes. Indeed. There you go. We're off and running. Yeah. Take it away. Big questions today.
Big questions. Yes, as Ken said at the top, we put these posts out here. We're having a fun time with these questions, and then we got busy talking mall, so we didn't have time to do these questions episodes, but there's still a prompt up. You just scroll down a little bit from our announcements of all the various live stream shows, and you'll see a question prompt. There are a bunch of great ones that we still haven't got to, and we do encourage folks to share where they're coming from, so it isn't just a quick question, but also a little bit of context and get to know folks as well. Our first question comes to us from the person Ken has dubbed Detective Michael McCarsell. Says, hello, ForceCenter friends. With Maul Shadow Lord upon us, or having passed us now, I come to you once again to talk about Star Wars animation. I've gone on ad nauseum in the past about how Star Wars in animation is for me when Star Wars is at its best. Today, however, I'll forgo the now cliche question of which animated series movie do you want to see? Instead, I want to talk more about why we haven't gotten more animation projects. As much as I love what we've gotten, it still feels like far more could be done in animation. There are numerous stories that fans have consistently shown interest in. Luke's Jedi Academy, fully animating Dark Disciples, A Teen on the Run with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, the list goes on. Why do you think we haven't gotten some of these projects? Is it that the financials just aren't right to do more than what's already being done? A lack of interest from the storytellers in telling these stories? Something else? I will always appreciate the incredible animated series we've gotten and continue to get. Even still, myself and many others so deeply want to see some of these stories told, especially in animation, and I will always hold out hope that we will someday see them. Thanks, and may the Force be with you. May the Force of animated Star Wars be with you, Michael, and I'm excited to dive in. Ken, what is your big picture reaction to this question?
I love it. I'm so super excited about Star Wars animation right now. I think I always have been, but we're riding the high of Maul Shadow Lord, and what Maul Shadow Lord was able to do Bad Batch did it as well. I think season 7 of Clone Wars was this big leap forward. We all love the Clone Wars series, Rebels, Resistance. We're big fans of it, but the way they're able to get down to the very detailed grimace on a face in a way that we haven't done before, I think just opens up the possibilities with going to different parts of the Star Wars galaxy that I personally would be like, I don't know, maybe live action, or I don't know here. I'm just excited about what they can do, and I actually would like to once again answer the question of what else would I want, because now my mind is racing.
And I think we will probably inevitably talk about that as we discuss this. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Maul has got me. I've always loved Star Wars animation. Clone Wars set the bar so high, and Bad Batch was one of our favorite things around these parts. And then Maul just blew it all out of the water. I was talking to my wife yesterday, and I was like, I said, I don't have to stay up tonight to watch Maul. And she's like, oh, I thought you'd be happy to get some sleep, but you're clearly very bummed out about it. It's like, I miss Maul. It's hard to put in words. I was just repeating myself to her, like, it's so good. But sweetie, it's so good.
So good.
Yeah, so good. This is a random aside. There's a scene in a late season episode of Riverdale that I want to become a meme, where Archie and Betty have set up a date, and there's a twisty plot thing where they've sort of regressed back to teenagers, and it's sort of like, for Archie, maybe some of his first, dating experiences, and he comes to Betty's locker and he just goes, "Betty, I'm really excited about tonight." No, Betty, I'm really excited about tonight. It just repeats it a few times, and that Archie meme about going on a date with Betty is how I feel about Maul. I can't express. I just keep repeating myself, but I really liked Maul. No, Betty, I really liked Maul.
Really liked it.
Yeah, so I think that just really sets the stage for our conversation of you and I are both in this place for more animation, and I think a lot of Star Wars fans are. I think for me, part of it with Maul of like the animation has steadily been progressing throughout, and we talked about Bad Batch being so beautiful, but a lot of that is often just like, hey, the actual tech, the models, not the character tech, but the technology. We've gotten better at the technology. We've done some motion capture, so now we can do more animation, right? And that's always good. But there was something different about that painted style of Maul that feels like this isn't just the technical ability to make a frown look more realistic. It's such an explosion of expression, of artistic expression with that painted art style.
Really agree with you. Yeah, it just was special, stunning. It was ominous when it needs to be. It just, everything about those strokes of paint on the digital screen just shook my core. Yeah, I want to throw all the fancy words I know, and I know about 7, but I just keep thinking about the series and how it looked and how it felt and how it moved, and I'm with you. I'm right there with you and Archie. Really excited.
Maybe Maul will turn some heads behind the scenes, but to get to the heart of Detective McCarsel's question, I don't think there's any lack of interest from the storytellers. I think it is about the money and time that animation takes, of course, but also that I think there's been such a pivot in the streaming world over the last couple of years, which everybody knows. But I think since animated series take even longer than live action to develop, I think it's probably hard to take on new projects with the pivot. Clearly, like, back in the day, what was it, 2020, when they announced all the shows, including like Skeleton Crew and, Rangers of the New Republic and things that didn't, this explosion of the Mandoverse. And that pivot had already happened when they're like, it's a year late, but here's Skeleton Crew. We already pivoted. We're already moving. And animation at least seems to have survived that of like, we made Bad Batch and then we went right on to Maul. We've already announced other seasons. We're working on season 2, probably season 3. We got Visions. We got spin-offs of Visions. For the most part, yearly, we're doing the Tales of, which I think really illustrate the storyteller's desire to keep telling, filling in little fun, interesting gaps. But I wonder if for even more beyond the status quo of what we've gotten in animation, there needs to be a decision about the sort of streaming wars, about what does Disney want out of streaming and how do they measure the success of an animated show?
Absolutely right. And you and I aren't in these meetings, as we'd like to say, but you and I are in and around and surrounded by the animation industry. You've written for animation. We have friends currently on lots writing shows, and I think we know enough to know that the time, the money, and the return, right?
Hmm.
And this is the sad reality. We're celebrating Maul Shadow Lord, but one of the reasons I think we're celebrating is I feel I can take it to the people who won't watch animation and be like, see, it's almost live action. And I know
Hmm.
I say that a lot. We have people in our audience like the wonderful Gwen who just have been championing animation for so long. It's not to talk down to it. It's just this reality of it. And I just wonder what is the return, even if it was to win awards, and or we know it wasn't a moneymaker for them. I don't think, but it was prestige, and that was part of the goal. I think was like, ooh, look what we got. Let's submit this to some of the real awards, and I don't know if that's a factor in it. Time, money. One thing too for me, uh, and Star Wars animation is centered around a wonderful core crew of people.
Hmm.
And how much do they want to divide the pie, or can they divide the pie if they've got a lot of different ideas? I know Visions will have a different spin-off of a team. And obviously, these studios they work with, it's a little bit different.
Hmm.
But in terms of Star Wars animation, I'm not saying they couldn't. I'm not saying Jennifer Corbett couldn't come back and work over here, and Matt Mikovich couldn't work over here. I'm just saying, like, it seems like they all hands on one deck, which I like because I like the results.
And maybe that is a part of it, of like we can only handle so much, and the tales of is the compromise, and the visions is the expansion, and it might be a
Mm,
while before we get something new. But I mean, I think the animation conversation goes along with the conversation of there's no new live action shows announced after Ahsoka season 2. So what will it be?
right.
And I think it continues to be a question for the entire industry, and also for us as consumers. How can we what button do you want us to press
Mm-hmm.
so we can vote with our
Mm-hmm.
eyes, with our time, with our wallet? How do you assess value of an animated series? Is it like you're saying, is it critical reviews? Because then Maul crushed it, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
it minutes watched? We talked about on the live show this week, some news shows, some minutes watched. Is it subscribers gained? you know,
Mm,
I don't know how they would possibly measure this, but maybe they do. I think one of the most important metrics for streaming would be subscribers not lost. Like,
mm.
people signed up to Disney Plus with the promise of this is where some of your
Mm-hmm.
favorite long-term narratives live, like Star Wars and Marvel and Simpsons, right? And what
Mm-hmm.
is the punishment for not? How do you
Right.
measure, hey, I left because you didn't make the Obi-Wan and Satine on
Mm-hmm.
the Run animated series? I don't
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Mm-hmm.
that's a problem for it to me, because like a part of the streaming is we have to keep making new stuff, period.
Mm-hmm.
But how can we measure losing people because we didn't make new things, other than online comment cards?
Yeah.
If we all organize one day and say, let's all cancel Disney Plus on Tuesday, March 8th or whatever, because they didn't make the Obi-Wan and Satine animated series.
And come back for Ahsoka season 2, episode 1. Yeah, you may. We won't say the Lucasfilm employee. He's very public on social media, whether he wants to be or not. And most of the time, he tells you he does not. But he put something out I saw past week on Blue Sky. It was like, psst, you can cancel the streaming apps after you watch a show. You should just cancel them every month and sign back up when you want to watch a show. I was like, oh, okay, someone on the inside, done with it.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I mean, we'll never truly know the metrics. I don't know if they, being those up in the C-suite, really know the metrics. I still think if you were to see the actual subscriber numbers from Disney Plus, they would be impressive, but also
Hmm.
shockingly low compared to what you might think.
Hmm.
It just seems weird. But yeah, I think that's got to factor into it, and the time you put into it. 8 episodes was down from. Excuse me, 10 episodes was down from even what Bad Batch was doing, and obviously what
Hmm.
Rebels was doing under more traditional time. But like the time to do that, you and I, you mentioned it. We've always talked. The lead time on animation is pretty crazy, man. Like
Hmm.
my friend a year and a half ago worked on a third season. We're on a fifth season on an animated show, Dungeons and Dragons show that is, I think, just finished or entering its third season. Like
Hmm.
that's how far out some of these things are. So whatever they got, they got. which is
Hmm.
always exciting. But all that time, money, investment, and what do you get back is unfortunately reality.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, but I do think there's great interest from the storytellers. There's the business of it, but then there's
Absolutely.
the what do they want? And I mean, I think the Tales of and the Vision spinoffs are a great example of that. The Tales of in particular, where Filoni gave the backstory, like came up with this thing I wanted to make about Ahsoka, and they're like, well, if you can come up with a couple other ideas, and then we've got three of those little micro series
Yeah.
now. Um,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on what the storytellers may or may want? Like
Mhm.
if the animation team are, all popping bubbly because Dave's in
Mhm.
charge, what stories do you
Mm.
think they might want to tell, or think that they might have a better chance of telling with Dave in charge?
I want to push them out beyond the era that a lot of the shows are in, the Clone Wars, into the years or so after. However, as I've said, that I
Hmm.
love those years, and I love exploring the 19 years between episodes 3 and 4. But I'd like to see them push out. I think a lot of people, the suggestions to go back, High Republic, whatever. I just think they love. It seems to me that they want to focus on drilling down on into characters and times and the politics of it, and the challenges of the characters. So I think I would be surprised by what they probably want to pull off. Maul was not surprising in the end, but I think when it was originally announced, I kind of was surprised that they were going to focus on Maul in a way. So that I'd like them to remain surprised. And the Filoni of it all, uh, he's even in a better position. He's got this team he completely trusts, and all he
Hmm.
has to do is jot down a little sketch on a cocktail napkin in a meeting. I'm across from Josh tomorrow, and I drew this. Like, make it so. I mean, he's in a good position with this team.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think even though he comes from animation, I think I don't think he's going to be able to just be like, I green like this, I green like that. I think
Right.
he's going to have to deal with a lot more, with even more than he has in the past, of all the money of it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine he and Lin Brennan have two desks that face each other, and he just looks up and goes, "Can we do?" And she goes, "No." Okay.
Let me check the budget. Nope. Um, What are your desires for more animation? What form would that take? Would there be more than one series? Would a series be back to like Clone Wars, like in Rebels, closer to 20 episodes? What do you want if you got your wish for more animation?
Certainly love that. Could have taken, like you, at least two more episodes of Maul. I would really like to see the push into an animated movie.
Hmm.
There's definitely been rumors about that. That's been floating around for a couple years. There was a rumored leak that I saw that I was like, I immediately was like, it's probably just a fake scoop rumor. I completely stumbled onto it, but I was like, but I like that enough. It was like an Adventures of Luke Skywalker film or something. I was like, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I
Hmm.
just would like to see 90-minute animated movie. Focus on something like that. Focus on Luke. Focus on Han, Luke, and Leia after the fall of the Empire, because you can do it maybe a little easier on
Hmm.
the animation side, or going back. Give me a High Republic movie. I'd be on board for anything. I'm interested in the idea. I will defend. Not that it's not attacked. I think it just was forgotten. But the War of the Rohirrim animated movie from the Lord of the Rings universe,
Mm.
I thought was really good. I thought it was overlooked. I thought it wasn't marketed right. But it's a nice, warm, inspiring story set in that world that I love. I would love to see Star Wars go into the animated movie world.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's the thing that I'm most interested in. Um, I know we grew up in a time where every once in a while there'd be a big animated film, and certainly the generation, the millennials, with the renaissance of Disney films. We still blow people's minds when we admit we haven't seen The Lion King. It's like it's foundational. What are you talking about?
Yes.
And we will get to that. We will get to it.
Sorry.
We'll do a
Sorry,
live stream.
everybody.
Um,
Sorry.
but I think there's also there's never not been animated films, but like K-pop Demon Hunters
Right.
was such a big explosion that I wonder if there's a possibility of not feeling like, at times I was like, well, what, maybe they could make a one-off animated movie for Disney Plus. But at
Mhm.
this point, I'm like, swing for the fences, do Adventures of Luke Skywalker, do Luke and Ben at the Jedi Academy, and this is when they first encounter Snoke, and maybe Luke does give him some of the scars. We learn more, but like, big
Yep.
deal. Make it
Mhm.
a big deal. Get people in the theaters. I think that could work. I think different generations have a stronger affiliation to animation, and I think it's different, especially when Maul has been this beautiful. I think if something was that beautiful as a film
Mhm.
and got an actual push for people to go in the theaters, I think that would
Mhm.
be great. And there are a ton of stories that I really want to see play out in longer fashion. But there are some of the stories that people are really interested in that are like, that would be just a great movie that wouldn't feel like, here's a little side adventure, but
Mhm.
this is substantive.
Mm. Absolutely, and you mentioned earlier, I don't think we should ever push off the Obi-Wan and Satine on the run story. And that even kind of I saw it trending on one of the apps I'm on, Hive. I don't know, I can't remember. Peach, I think I was on this week. But I saw someone was like talking about that. I still think that is an idea that just would be really rewarding. And the
Yeah.
kind of idea we like of something that's known in Star Wars canon and lore, but you could explore it. It's no longer just a passing thing or thing we know. Like, let's go live in that. Let's go take this little
Hmm.
line. Let's take a 2 sentence line about the Battle of Hardhome in one of George R. Martin's books and turn it into this Hardhome episode in Game of Thrones. Like, let's do that with Star
Hmm.
Wars.
Amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it was EK Johnston I saw on
Mm.
Threads posting some fan art and saying it's never going to happen. But, and I don't know
Right.
if she meant the Obi-Wan and Satine on the run story is never going to happen in book form, or, who knows? Maybe
Mm.
there's some reason that story is on
Mm.
lockdown.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great example. I know I am on about this all the time, but I feel like it's such a huge missing moment of Obi-Wan and Anakin's journey of they both lose their sabers in Attack the
Mm.
Clones, and then they forge their most famous blades real quickly before starting a war. And whatever they went through, both of them, but particularly Anakin, to make the hero's blade, the
Mm.
original lightsaber, is like,
Mm.
that to me sounds like just like a fantastic opportunity to show a short film. And maybe that's
Yeah.
not the one for theatrical release because maybe too many people would roll their eyes about
Oh,
more
yeah.
Obi-Wan and
Mm-hmm.
Anakin, but
Mm-hmm.
who cares?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the Luke and Ben Jedi Academy it would be a great series, but it could also be a great one-off film. Pick a pivotal moment, like I said, like meeting Snoke or that kind of thing.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's meet
Yeah.
Snoke. What are desires that you might have for an animated film?
Luke Skywalker, I can't move off that. I saw that, and it's been talked about. And again, the rumors have been floating for a couple years. I wouldn't be surprised if they announce an animated movie, but I think there's an opportunity to go back. The High Republic, you have such a wonderful collection of characters to draw upon, and it's not fully known by the fandom at large or even just general fans, right? I think that'd be a
Hmm.
chance to say, hey, we're doing something new and different. And for the Star Wars fans who were invested in the series, oh my gosh, High Republic is moving forward into another medium. That'd be good. Or that's when you maybe go deep into the Old Republic, which I with the Mangold movie still kind of floating out there somewhere. I
Hmm.
just don't know if they'll touch the ancient days quite yet. But that's where I also would like to see Star Wars go and do it in animated form because you could just explore it with wild abandon.
Yeah, no, and we're talking about animation, and I realized we forgot to even acknowledge the Nubs show, which I have forgotten the title, which is why I'm calling it the Nubs show.
A young Jedi adventures featuring Nub. Yeah,
There you go.
little Nub. Yeah.
Maybe it would have done even better if it was called the Nub Show. I know everybody who's watched it has said nothing but positive
Yeah.
things, and I've
Hmm.
watched about half of it and need to get caught up at some
Hmm.
point here.
Yeah.
Um,
Watch those season one.
the show that I think seems like it's dangling out there in a weird way, or the animated tale is the path. Obviously, it's set up
Right.
in the Kenobi show. Quinlan who has lived in animation is teased in that. Riva is set up to, in my opinion, possibly be a part of that as a means of her own journey for who do I want to be if I'm going to break the cycle of violence that was done to me. Maybe, hey, helping children escape the same kind of violence that I was exposed to seems to make
Hmm.
sense. But then it's, we got Asajj right there also running around with a mission to protect people with a young kid under her care. We left Barris off very path oriented. So there are things out there for this sort of path idea that are like fun fan speculation. We all discuss it enough that it starts to become this like, well, it's got to come. But the Barris story and the Asajj story both feel like, come on, this isn't just fan speculation. This is breadcrumbs. How do you feel about the path?
I absolutely agree, and you actually, so funny. I kind of forgot about Asajj being out there, not just in a speculation way, like you said, but Nika Futterman saying, "Oh yeah, there's going to be more. There's more coming." And that Tales of, you're right, was as people like to throw out, a backdoor pilot. But the path would be fascinating. Ventress in season 2 or beyond in Maul Shadowlord makes sense in a way. I don't know if they even need to do that, but it'd be fascinating if she just shows up. But yeah, I think you could find a way to do the path, and kind of, it's still in that era that I jokingly say Dave loves to explore and the animation team loves to explore. I don't know. That's not a fact. It's not like there's a big, Clone Wars era stuff written on a chalkboard in Dave's office. But I just think it's so close enough that the animation style would translate real easily to that. And the Quinlan Voss of it all, it's part of that bucket of Star Wars storytelling.
And it is the progression of where they've been at with Bad Batch and Maul. And now maybe this is a couple years later that we get to the path. So maybe 3 years of Maul and and then we're on to the path. So a big picture, I feel like looking at it all, Star Wars actually does do a decent amount of animation, especially compared to some other storytelling worlds. But I would take all the more they can get, and I would really love to see them experiment with the film. My final thoughts. Any final thoughts from you?
Sam, I'm right there with you. Let's go film. Let's go theaters. Let's do it. And then also stuff on Disney Plus while we still have it.
Yep. Let's get some popcorn buckets.
Yeah. Before I cancel it, I finally canceled HBO Max this past weekend. I can't afford $20 to just kind of have something in the background occasionally when I want to watch it.
Yep. Well, you will resubscribe when it's time.
House of the Dragon. Yeah. House of the Dragon.
Yep.
I'll be back.
Yep. Well, maybe that's how they're going to monitor, of just like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Fascinating and strange times we live in.
Indeed.
But we're going to move on to our next question from Jedi James. Thanks, Jedi. Here is what Jedi James has to say. Bright Suns ForceCenter. The Force willing that the new Jedi Order film finally comes to fruition. I have to ask, do you think there will be any lightsaber fights in it? Well, we know very little about the film. If your early speculation of political figures working against the Jedi remain true, I can't picture how we would get a lightsaber duel in this kind of story. I don't believe that a Star Wars story needs a lightsaber duel to be worthy of the screen. Solo, Rogue One, and/or Skeleton Crew, The Book of Boba Fett, Star Wars Resistance, and various publishing stories had none and were fantastic. But I must admit, if this is a film that will show Rey in her prime, I can't help but want to see her in a lightsaber duel that shows how far she has come and what she has passed on to her students. What do you all think? Will this film break that tradition, or will there be a way? If there is a way, what kind of duel do you anticipate? Will it be more like the Praetorian Guard fight where the opponent is not Force sensitive, or will it be a traditional Force user versus Force user? If that's so, will it be a more intimate and personal lightsaber duel like Episode 4 and 9, or a more over-the-top and epic one like Episode 3 in the Acolyte, a.k.a. My Personal Hope, says Jedi James. Where do you go with all of this? May the Force be with you all. Thanks, Jedi James. We haven't talked about just lightsaber fighting in a while, Ken, so that's fun. So just give a little context. Jedi James is referring to just a speculation that we have about the version of the movie that was announced 3 years ago. And even announced, teased at Star Wars Celebration London. They revealed that they were working on this new Jedi Order and Rey film, and they were talking about how I'm paraphrasing greatly, but what there was said on stage was, new Jedi are rising, and there are forces in the galaxy that don't want the Jedi to rise, and of course we need a great Jedi to lead them, and it's Rey. Here's Daisy Ridley. But to me, it was just that turn of phrase, and the background in the previous work of the announced director Sharmeen Obed-Chinoy. We don't have any updates on that, of course, that she has a history of documentaries about people fighting for their rights, and about oppressive groups trying to hold people down. And I just got taken, and I think you did, Ken, with this idea of uh, Rey is training Jedi, and they're going around the galaxy righting wrongs. Like, hey, is a
Mm.
corporation
Mhm.
raiding your villages and poisoning your planet? We're going to go there and politely ask them to stop it. And if not, they will put the lightsaber on the desk. That's the the mission of the Jedi, as George Lucas described it to Dave Filoni.
Mhm.
And Dave Filoni has put that lightsaber on the desk. We're here to discuss a solution. We would love it to not involve lightsabers. Has put that in many of his works. So
Mhm.
it struck me as very, very interesting that in the confusion that I'm sure it will take the galaxy to recover from the sudden shock and terror of everything that happened in the First Order conflict, that um, power abhors a vacuum, and that mm, corporations, space corporations, and warlords would fill some of those power vacuums. And they just really like things to stay the way they are rather than having these heroic, idealistic people
Mhm.
who think everybody matters and their life can be better.
Mhm.
uh, to
Mhm.
So anyway, that was a theory based on the very few words and the career and life experiences of the announced director at the time. So could be have nothing to do with any reality whatsoever. Just to start with, where are your thoughts with the new Jedi Order film, and what it might be about?
Look, I think Jedi James is right. You don't need every Star Wars story to have a lightsaber, except for my one friend, acquaintance from the stand-up world on Facebook, who yelled in all caps on Facebook, "Andor sucks." They forgot the one thing that makes Star Wars: lightsabers. So there's one person out there
They
that feels that
forgot
way.
it. I really,
Yeah, they forgot.
I
They
really like
forgot.
that idea. Like they're at the rap party for season 2, and Tony Gurley is like, "Oh, it was on my list."
Oh. You and I obviously been doing this together for a long time, and we're at the same convention presentation.
Mhm.
I wrote only one note for this section: corporate Jedi. So where I go, and I'm drawn from pro wrestling, famously corporate rock in the about early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. The hero joined the leaders of the corporation of the company and went bad that way. I'm also drawn from a little bit of Mystery Men. Greg Kinnear as was a Captain Amazing with the sponsorships all over him. You all can laugh at me, but once again, I'm drawn upon Young Guns 2, greatest film of all time, where Pat Garrett runs with Billy the Kid, and his ego gets in the way, his pride gets in the way, wanting to be number one gets in the way, and the leaders of New Mexico buy him off, and he is a corporate sheriff who then pursues Billy the Kid. If Rey is starting the Jedi Order or has restarted the Jedi Order, and they're doing exactly what you talked about, going around helping people, righting wrongs, and power is still looking to hold on to its power, however new it might be. What if they take not just a student, but maybe some along the way that's already few years into it, and that person's like, why can't I be number one, or at the very least number two behind you? And I don't like what you're doing, and maybe it's not even like hidden. It's like announced. We've started the Jedi Order. It's Waymo Company presents the Jedi's, and that's where some of the clash is. Just this
Oh
really,
man.
you know. Mm-hmm,
Oh, that's amazing and painful.
mm, yeah, yeah, right.
uh, I think, yeah, okay. I love the corporate Jedi take. I guess mine was similar, not as horrific. I think that we've had such good storytelling in the last several years about this distinction between force sensitive people, people who
Right.
are born with a natural gift towards it. Of course, great storytelling lately that anybody can access the force with an open mind and a great deal of training and practice.
Mm-hmm,
Um, but there's a difference between being force sensitive, force strong, and institutions. So for me, that it's quite interesting that, like, the galaxy is large, and did some kid grow up rough, tap into the dark side,
mm-hmm,
learn some secrets, and think, I don't need a name. either I'm restarting the Sith, or I don't need a name. It's just like, I think corporations could easily find people to hire and to train and wield as weapons, knowing that we need to put these people down, the Jedi down, and we need someone to do it. I'm still very, very intrigued with the timeline of Star Wars Starfighter and the casting of Matt Smith and Mia Goth, who,
Mhm.
I mean, either they're going to be the first Star Wars evil industrial goth rock band, or they're going to be dark side affiliated in some way. Because look at those
Yeah.
two together; they look like dark side twins.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so I just,
And
yeah, go ahead.
but the type of twins where you look at them and go, so that's how it is in that family.
Yep. Oh, okay. All right.
Mm.
Some thoughts, some suspicions, some fears, some intrigue.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
yeah, but
Mhm.
I think that there's every possibility of a corporation hiring
Mhm.
blades
Mm.
that aren't affiliated with the Sith dogma, or even with somebody who's like, nah,
Mm.
maybe corporate Sith of like,
Corporate Sith.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both right there in the same spot. And I think we both are intrigued by this idea. Again, speaking for myself, I suppose, but the idea of like if the new Jedi Order has been formed or is forming or is in this new era, like and the question of what does it mean to be a Jedi now, and what are the rules? A lot of speculation and conversation here, even in the Force Center world, with our listeners who were like, could Ray change some of the rules or some of the thoughts behind it, and so it's a big question of like how do you do this? And if you have someone else who's like, no, we got an idea how to do it, it's corporate Jedi who's going to go protect our interests on the way out there. That would be fascinating. With dark side influence, I think you got to dress and deal with the dark side of the Force. It's going to be present. So I think that would be, I think that'd be fun. Well,
Yeah.
tragic.
Yeah, I think,
Too real.
and we haven't heard about this film in a long time, other
Mm-mm.
than
Yeah,
assurances from Daisy Ridley that it is moving forward and that is a part of things. The
yeah.
Kinberg trilogy is still out there, and we all have
Right.
various speculation that maybe it got absorbed into that. We haven't heard anything from Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, so I also think that there's a possibility that there was kind of a plan to do a kind of a let's take Rey is starting the Jedi again, so what is she going to do different? It's a different time in the galaxy, so how are the Jedi going to be tested in a different way? I think it is also possible that uh, uh, maybe there's some push pull behind the scenes of how sort of new to make the film versus. I don't think it's an entirely bad idea to say it's been generations now. It's been 50 years since the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And do you recapture some of that spirit? And, I think I'm just bracing for the possibility that the film is great, but maybe not as sort of fiery in its commentary on the realities of corporate evil as George Lucas did with
Mm-hmm.
the prequels, or as I think Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy was hinting at, in my opinion, it might be
Yeah.
more of a the Jedi are rising, and also there is the Sith are rising too, because the dark side will never stay in ashes. It's I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a
Mm-hmm.
great story that
Fair.
Star Wars has told, is and sadly a great story, not a great story, a sad story that the real world is telling is authoritarianism will always try again. So it could just be that in order to get back to the lightsaber duel of it all, it could just be Jedi versus Sith, you know?
Yes. You and I, this is the Force Center way. We're the dark side, light side fighting. That's what it's
Well, it is,
but I'm excited by these ideas that we're talking about. And
yeah,
you're right. I almost got to temper my expectations for number one, the movie to happen, which I know is just a sad reality, but
yeah.
also I'll be in this theater going, there was no corporations.
Where are corporate Jedi? We were promised Jedi with stickers on their robes. Slap a logo on it. Slap a logo on it.
Mhm,
So let's
mhm.
get back to the whole duel part.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the difference between seeing a lightsaber present? Like Mandalorian has been a lot of lightsaber combat, but not
Mhm.
necessarily lightsaber on lightsaber duels all the time. But a lot of
Mhm.
like I just rewatched the last night the season 2 episode introducing Ahsoka in the great fight with Morgan Elsbeth,
Wait, so
Beskar
did I.
versus. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
last night I
What
sat down and
exact
watched
time?
it. Probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, we're a little out of sync. I think I hit
Okay.
play about 8:19 p.m.
Oh,
Pacific.
oh, that's right. Perfect.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
is so good, so
Funny.
good.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the difference between you between like or like the Praetorian Guard fight in Last Jedi versus traditional lightsaber on lightsaber duel?
I love them all, and I'm a big fan of the Last Jedi sequence, the Praetorian Guards, and Rey and Kylo going back to back while Led Zeppelin plays, which I'm now convinced was in the movie. I didn't recall to hear the music. I love it. I also would like it. I guess it's scar tissue from that era, standing in an office of a digital media company and having the owner of the company put that as crypto long enough to look at the guy who leads one of the channel shows and go, no lightsaber fight. You know what I mean? Luke used a stick. Like, I don't want that anymore. I don't give a bleep about them, but like, just have it light lightsaber on lightsaber. No question about it. Have the other stuff in it too, but have, red blade, orange blade versus yellow blade. Let's do it. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
I agree, and I think one of the great excitements of continuing the story of Rey is that tease of her fully formed in her prime. We've talked a lot about how I think all 3 trilogies are coming of age stories. Luke becomes fully a
Mhm.
Jedi, Anakin becomes fully Vader and a Sith, and I think Rey becomes fully ready to take and define her own place in her story. And a part of that is this beautiful blade that is made of her own past, as well as a symbol of her future. And
Mhm.
people want to see that blade in action. And I think a traditional duel would be fantastic, particularly in a big film setting where the best of the duels are they're so emotional. It isn't just well, I got to take this conflict. This
Mhm.
antagonist has got to be taken down.
Mhm.
But a this lightsaber fight, who wins or who loses will affirm something about our perspectives or our
Mhm.
feelings or our conflicts. The lightsaber fight in Rise of Skywalker, I think, is great because it is so about emotionally what's at stake. And it's there in the way
Mhm.
it's shot and choreographed in the setting and all that. And I would hope that we could get a lot of that in the new Jedi Order, not just with Rey, but other Jedi she's trained.
Yeah, I agree. And we're just coming off to tie it back to animation Mall Shadow Lord. Some of I think the best lightsaber fights in Star Wars that have so much at stake, like you said, and
Hmm.
tell us so much about the characters and what's going on in the moment, all the way through those we talked about on our review. It's not just cool choreographed fights. It is so purposeful, and there's storytelling within those fights, which I think is generally the case for most lightsaber fights. But um, yeah, that's why we did a series on it. Go back and look at our. We got to continue our lightsaber series. That was some great duels.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really agree with you. To not waste a moment with a lightsaber fight in that film if it comes out.
Hmm. Yeah. So Jetta James asks, will it be more intimate and personal or more over the top and epic? I say I would like both, and I think there's room for both in a film like this. I think part of the challenge of the coming of age stories is uh, the the characters aren't ready yet to pick up the blades at parts in those stories, and I think there's actually a lot of creativity in all 3 trilogies about like, hey, this lightsaber is really cool, but the main character isn't ready in this film to
Mm,
pick it up yet. Um,
mm-hmm,
I still marvel when I watch the original Star Wars film, the amount of imagery and iconography of Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. Um, and he turns it
mm.
on once and plays it with like a glow stick, and then gets shot in the upper thigh by a remote. Luke Skywalker and his lightsaber. It's a tribute to the film and a tribute to people's patience, because I think if that film came out nowadays, it would be ravaged. For you put all this promotion, the main character in his lightsaber, he gets the lightsaber in the first act, and then he doesn't even use it. I mean, it's amazing.
I I have never stopped to think of it in this way, and the first time I'd say he really uses it that we see it is against a Wampa.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yep. And Luke
Poor
doesn't
Wampa.
duel properly until, over
Yeah.
halfway through the trilogy, when he
Yep.
faces,
It's
and
amazing.
but again, like we see him use it for the Wampa, we see him use it for the AT-AT or AT-AT. We see him use it in the dream cave, in the dark side cave. But that man doesn't fully go to lightsaber dueling town until the end of Empire Strikes Back.
So the end of Empire, you could say on a scorecard, he and Han have the most tied for the most actual uses of a blade on screen until that moment.
Close. Yeah,
Amazing.
close. Yeah.
Amazing.
Anyway, but big yes to lightsaber duels. Very excited. Any final thoughts from you, Ken?
Nah, I think they are key to this type of story. I think to what Jedi James had said up top. Yeah, not every Star Wars story needs a lightsaber, but those ones kind of are either advertised as being something different, or you kind of get the sense that unless Vader shows up or something like a Rogue One, this isn't about that. It's the other side of the Star Wars story. But I think if you're saying New Jedi Order and you were like, oh, but no lightsabers, I think the public would have a right to be upset that time around.
And it is a great opportunity to see how has Rey progressed. How does she train people? What style is it? Does it look more like the prequels? Is it another? Whoever's that young Nick Gillard out there dreaming of a new lightsaber fighting style? It's a great opportunity, and I really hope that they will make the most of it.
Indeed. Great stuff today, Michael McCarcel, the detective, Jedi James. So we appreciate all of you here, and glad to get back to answering questions. More on the way. And that's it for us. We're getting ready to sign out here. You can find us on social media at ForceCenter Pod. Podcast is available on a lot of spots. Just search. You'll find us. We rebroadcast Databank Brawl on Sunday. We just rebroadcast the Therm Scissor Punch episode. So classic there. Merch available, like we said up top, TeePublic and Fourth Wall. You can support us directly, help us reach our next goal of 407, patreon.com/ForceCenter. You get the Discord link. You get special shows that are up there still. Will of Force one day might return. Don't worry. We're aware of it. We're aware of it still existing. But also you get the link to call into our Force Center Now shows on Friday, which has been a lot of fun. So that's all there. Find and follow me on social media at Ken Napzok, or my website, kennapzok.com, where, if you're listening kind of in the week that this was released, we are only a couple weeks away from a Star Wars-themed comedy show at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank. So if you're local, come on out. May 24th, 5 p.m. in the Yoo-Hoo Room. Wonderful, intimate comedy space. Star Wars and pop. There'll be some other pop culture jokes, I'm sure, but Star Wars-themed show. Me and Joseph are anchoring the show with the wonderful Mike Black.
Nice.
Jackie Cation confirmed this weekend.
Oh,
and Josh
nice.
Snyder. Yes, so we are good to go with a great lineup of pop culture friendly comedy. Come on out. Ticket links on my website. You, sir.
I'm going to be doing Ken's show that he just told you about. Also, if you want to check out my YouTube channel, that would be fantastic. Last couple of weeks, last few months, I've been putting a bunch of short films up there. If you watch all my short films, it's like over an hour at this point of entertainment. In particular, most recently I put out a short called Victim 7 about a woman dealing with some old monsters and some new monsters, the way Rey might in the new Jedi Order film. It's called Victim 7. So please check that out. Subscribe, hit the bells, the buttons, slap a logo on it. Whatever you need to do on YouTube these days to make other people see it would be greatly appreciated. You can just search for it under my name.
There you go. That is it. Watch all that. Get your merch. Practice your lightsaber swings. We'll do it. We'll see you next time here on Force.